So let me ask you, Jefferson County, are you ready to Tea Party? Are you ready to send a message to Washington in November? Obama 012. Just checking. Before we get started, I want to see a hands of anybody that is a veteran of the military or currently serving. Give these people a hand. Thank you for your service. I want to start off here by just mentioning some candidates. We had so many people that wanted to come speak, but at some point I had to cut it off just for the fact of time constraints. So I want to introduce some people that definitely said they were Tea Party believers and believe the same things that we believe in. So I want to give them a chance to bring them up here real quick, just kind of give a quick introduction, and we'll go from there. So the first one I'd like to introduce is Carrie Rayfield Cabral. She is a Republican candidate for the 110th District House of Representatives seat. Carrie resides in Potosi with her husband Todd and 3 daughters. Driven by the obvious need for fiscal conservatism in our government, Carrie has decided to man up and put her money where her mouth is. Complaints and fist raising only get so far, but true community activism is the heart of inciting change. Say hello to Carrie Rayfield Cabral. Next is a man, you can't have a better name than this for politics. His name is John Wayne Tucker. He's a Republican candidate for the 3rd District, which is currently held by Russ Carnahan. He is married to his wife Natalie. He has 1 daughter and a stepson. He is currently a realtor living right here in Arnold. He is currently a member of the First Baptist Church of Arnold. Please welcome John Wayne Tucker. Now I'd like to introduce a man named Don Bukowski. He's a nice Irish gentleman running for Jefferson County Council District 1. He has decided to get up off the couch and make a difference. He believes that the people need to stand up and take their country back. Don Bukowski. Thank you all. I'm going to start out here by reading a few lines from the Declaration of Independence, because I believe this is the heart of the Tea Party movement and why most of us are here today. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. I skipped down a few lines. It says, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. I have one thing to say to the politicians in Washington. You should get down on your knees and thank God that these guys are not alive today. These guys would have saddled up long ago and headed to Washington, and not just to protest. Compared to these guys, we're considered liberals. I'd like to recap the last 14 months. As you know, the last 14 months has been a tough time in this history of this country. I'm going to recap some of the things that I believe have been so unconstitutional that they are starting to really infringe on our freedom and liberty. Started with the bailouts. Started with George W. Bush in 2008. and in continuing with the Obama administration. We started hearing terms such as too big to fail. Government has started picking winners and losers in private businesses, taking taxpayers' money and using it to save businesses that helped cause the crisis in the first place. Now call me stupid or old-fashioned, but when you run your business into the ground, you deserve to fail, and not one penny of the government's money should be used to bail you out. I don't care how big you are. The stimulus, over $800 billion, just put on the country's credit card. No attempt to pay for it. No attempts to really create jobs, what I believe, with this stimulus. This was nothing but a slush fund for Democratic areas that they're going to try to use a lot of that this November. They promised unemployment would not go above 8% with this $800 billion stimulus. It's now close to 10%, and the real rate is up around 17 or 18%. All in the name to what they say, create 3 million jobs. Don't insult our intelligence with this phony baloney saved or created jobs, Mr. Obama. This country has lost 4 million jobs since this bill was signed. It's been a total failure. I heard that the economy was so bad that the Chicago mob was laying off lawyers. Next, we have cap and trade legislation passed by the House of Representatives this year. A study from George C. Marshall Institute concluded the following effects from this legislation. Cap and trade energy legislation will be the equivalent of a $1,437 tax increase on the average household. Hundreds of thousands of jobs lost. Electricity prices will jump by up to 15%. Natural gas prices will increase 12 to 50%, and gasoline prices could rise as much as 145%. Imagine that. And part of the cap and trade legislation is if you ever go to sell your house, you're going to have a bureaucrat come and inspect it and see if it meets the energy standards that they feel comply with their regulations. And if not, you are going to be forced to upgrade your home before you can sell it. That is craziness, folks. We have enough energy resources right here in this country to power us for hundreds of years. It just takes a president and a Congress with a spine to stand up to these environmental nut jobs and say, no more are we going to be controlled by these little dictators and tyrants in the Middle East.